Yeah, big talking Brewskis. Marissa Smith is who you see. Water cooler combo in here. Crack a cold one, we're on the air. Big talking Brewskis. Marissa Smith is who you see. Water cooler combo in here. Crack a cold one, we're on the air. Kicking back, having a few beers, we're chatting. Pull up your chair, we're all relaxing. Any subject, we never dismiss. Big talking Brewskis with Marissa Smith. Comedy, sex, relationships, more. Any subject, we got it in store. Big talking Brewskis is coming in live. Crack one open, Marissa has arrived. Big talking Brewskis with Marissa Smith. Yeah.
Hey guys, happy Friday. This is Big Talking Brewskis. I'm Marissa Smith. As always, I've got Rodney Daniels with me.
What's up, guys? Happy Friday.
We've got Lee Paul with us.
TGIF, I love you guys.
And Max Brinzillis.
Yay, happy Friday.
Yay. So now, Lee, you kind of came in a little late. Did we catch up on your week?
No.
I feel like we
No.
didn't catch up on your week. So now, how was your week?
We didn't do the week catch up. No. Week was good. Busy. I had a show at Wicked Willie's, this New York centric comedy show that I'm doing a monthly called Only in New York. It's a lot of fun. And I'll tell you, I forgot how hard producing, so hats off to you and Ronnie, because it is a pain in the ass.
I haven't even done it.
I mean, I have anxiety attacks, like it's over, and I'm still having dreams about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's.
You know, but you know what? What I've learned is that in the end, everything works out.
Okay.
You just have to kind of like let go a little bit, you know, because when you hold on too tight, you're going to drive yourself nuts. Like, are we going to pack the room? Is everybody going to be there? You know, is everything to work out? And also, it's like the first time I'm doing this concept show. So you know what? You're going to make little mistakes and you'll tweak it for the next time, trim it fat. But it went really well. I had a lot of fun because, you know, I do a lot of New York stuff in my act. And I was telling Max off camera, off mic earlier, you know, I'm doing a lot of stuff now. I'm starting to do man on the street stuff, going to different like neighborhoods in New York and ask people about their best street food spots they go to, tell some New York stories. And I want to even get a podcast about old New York, you know, and talking about how it's changed over the past 30, 40 years, get people's perspectives and experience. And so this is why this show is really important to me, because I just want to have like a cool thing, a destination. And I think what's happened is, and you're from the Bronx, Max, so maybe you can. And then I
You're
know,
from where?
I'm from Long Island and
Okay.
Queens, you know. And then Marissa, obviously, you're a native New Yorker, you know.
Yeah.
And then Ronnie, where are you from?
I'm from Wisconsin.
You're from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm the transplant.
That's right. That's right.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, he left Wisconsin, and then there was like,
Milwaukee.
2 black people left after that.
His grandma and grandpa.
Right.
There was still, when he left, there was only 2 black people, and then it was like 5 gay people left. The gay and black population took a big hit when you left. They were like,
Well, I think Jeffrey Dahmer had something to do with that.
Right. That's true. He was taking them down.
He was eating them.
Right.
but yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm doing that, and you know, the relationship stuff is tricky, man. You know, I don't know if anybody is in a relationship right now. Ronnie, I know you've had your little
I've had
issues.
I've had issues.
Issues that require more than tissues.
Right. Are you in a relationship right now?
Yeah, you know, it's just like the whole. I don't know what it is about love. Love is like one of those things that makes every person who falls in it irrational. Like, you can never be sane.
But that's
when
the
you're
whole
in
thing,
love.
is that love itself
know?
is. I remember I wrote this is before we had Facebook or whatever, and I was in college, and we had a quote wall in our living room, and we just basically like stapled poster board to the wall, and anytime someone said something cool, someone would write it down. The whole thing is you couldn't write down your own quote. It had to be someone else that thought it was an interesting quote. And like somebody wrote in the middle of the quote wall my quote about love, and it's love is irrational, irrelevant, and without purpose. And it's just like,
Damn.
yeah, it's like when you fall in love, there's no reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily need it, but like when it's there, it's just like a fucking.
And it's irrational. Makes you do irrational.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like everybody talks about, opioids and cocaine and all these drugs. Like love is the most fucked up of all the drugs, right?
That's
there.
why Lizzo, her new album that's out, she has a song where she talks about that. Like love is a drug. Fuck this shit.
I have never you know what? Love is such a powerful drug that's actually how I got sober, because I bottomed out from love, from losing a relationship.
Bottomed out.
Yeah, I'm serious.
You even fucking ruined getting drunk.
I don't even enjoy beer anymore.
Yeah, I have a very sad life. I know that I have to overcompensate with food and having sex with women significantly younger than me. But anyway, yeah, it's like even to this day, I'm 42 years old, and still I catch myself getting in that obsessive mode. You know what I mean? Like you say, hey. You ever go to somebody have this conversation like, you know what, maybe we should slow down, like give each other some more space, right? You ever do this? Let's just see each other. Because you find yourself staying at the person's house like every night, and then you're like, oh, I'm not getting anything done, and I'm not going to the gym, not doing this. Like you feel like smothered, like let's just take a step back and make boundaries. And that shit lasts for like 3 days, and then somebody's like, hey, do you want to come over? It's like, it never lasts. Everybody falls off the wagon. With love, nobody
It's so true.
Nobody can stay disciplined, and I know what it is too now. And you know what? I'll make this quick because I know we got to go on other stuff. But I got divorced about 1.5 years ago. I've been in my divorce pad up in East Harlem, my bachelor pad, and I went from being married to being with somebody for 6 years who was a low sex drive, right? To being in a relationship with somebody who's younger and a high sex drive, which I have a high sex drive. So that's just like hit the jackpot,
Yes,
like
sex drive.
Right. It's the compatibility thing, and plus she's an artist, she's a performer, we got a good vibe, we can talk about stuff, but it's, I think bottom line is this. Finding, I don't know, Max, how you do it if you're in a relationship with it, but it's finding that fine balance to maintain between what's healthy and and functional to what's excessive and obsessive, and going in between there. And I don't know,
It's a fine line.
Yeah, I've never been able to fucking tote that line. I'm terrible with it,
Are you single, Max? Are you in a relationship?
I'm
You're
very
single.
I'm very single.
Oh, very.
I do not plan on getting into a relationship anytime soon. I spent a lot of time dating, like 16 to like 20, 21, and I've just been spending the last 2 years like doing shit for myself, and I've gotten so much shit done just not taking dating seriously. Like I date and like I'll go on dates with girls and I'll fool around, but like just not getting into anything serious, limiting those interactions has really just allowed me to do everything that I feel like doing.
This young man is very wise.
Yeah.
Very wise. Like I was dumb as shit when like I didn't lose my virginity until I was 19.
19.
Yeah, because I was heavy. I was like 50 pounds heavy when I was younger. So like I was the kid that like all the girls like, oh, you're so funny, and they'd hug me, but they wouldn't fuck me. You know what I'm saying? Huggable, but
I'll hug you, but
yeah, huggable, but not fuckable, right? And so when I lost my virginity and then I started losing weight, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta catch up for all this lost time. You know what I mean? And it was just like
Stick my dick in everything.
yeah, my dick was on the I was on the pussy train.
I think that's how everyone feels when they lose their virginity, because I felt like that at 16, and that's like a normal age. Because
Right.
like I went to school in the Bronx, so everyone was just like, yeah, I lost my virginity when I was 12, and you're just 16, like, oh man, they lost their virginity when they were 12, instead of just being like, wow, that's fucking like,
So, like,
adult,
who raped
I
you?
was gonna say, right, 12 was too young.
When I was
Unless
16,
it was like another 12-year-old, like that's like not.
I feel like
rape,
that's
right?
not how that story goes. I feel like it's somebody's
lot.
uncle or aunt that like gave him a joint. Like they were watching the Super Bowl and they ended up fucking behind a dumpster.
What a Super Bowl!
they ended up fucking this family member, or they gave the joint and they fucked somebody else. But they had a cool
that's-
family member who let it
That's a
happen.
lot of first
Which
experiences
one? Yeah.
in one go.
I don't know. I mean, I have an imagination. I'm assuming that they're fucking the family member. I could be wrong, but shit happens.
It's some real Bronx shit. Max is like 12 years old. They're like, yeah, I was like getting trim when I was 12. You know, I was banging
I
broads
wasn't.
left and right.
It's 12, right? It's 12.
Yeah,
I was 18, and it was
that's pretty late.
it was like my boyfriend in college, and it was.
You were in college.
actually-
You graduated high school already.
Yeah, I graduated high school already, and I actually like my first time was election night when Bill Clinton got reelected.
Of course it was. Of course. Of course
So
it
much
was.
sense.
That would set
I
it
lost
off.
my virginity when Bill Clinton got elected.
It makes so much sense.
I understand your whole political sensibilities now, who you are. Now it all makes sense.
Yeah, like
That's great.
Because like my boyfriend at the time and we were working on like Bill Clinton's reelection campaign, and so like and like
So much sense.
yeah,
That's great.
and so like election night, like because like I don't know why they don't care about laws or whatever, but like some like folks from the campaign gave us a 30-pack. They're like, oh, you guys work so hard, like here's a prize, go back to school. And like they put it in like a shipping box, and like we're just like, okay, like why did they just give us this box? And so like we opened up the box and it was like a 30-pack, and so we're like, all right, party at the dorms. And so like I told my boyfriend at the time, okay, if I pull off a fuck tab and Bill wins, then this is your lucky night. And so like thinking like, what are the laws of probability that I'm gonna pull off a fuck tab the same
What's
night?
a fuck tab?
Yeah, I got lost there.
So like a fuck tab is like if you take the tab off your can, right?
remember
There's like a
this.
little circle that
Right.
is at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you pull the tab off and that circle is on, that's a fuck tab.
Clean, right?
And if you take it off and the circle is not on, then that's not a fuck tab. That's just a tab.
Oh, right. That's why they used to make the collection. I remember people used to collect and make bracelets and
No,
stuff.
not a fuck tab.
Yeah, so like you didn't get a fuck
Get
tab.
back on the wagon, bitch.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no dick today.
So I got a
Too late
fuck
for that.
tab, and Clinton won, and so like that was my first night. But yeah, when people question my democratic sensibilities,
No
I'm
one,
like,
no
do
one.
you understand? I lost my virginity because
Yes.
the Democratic Party.
Right? Yes.
That's the line from
That's
now
a
on.
commitment.
Like people
right
want to know
there.
why I'm such a hardcore liberal. You know what I'm
Right?
saying?
Exactly.
Like I had my cherry pop the night that Clinton got elected. Okay,
Reelected.
reelected. Excuse me.
I was 17 to a girl and then 18 to a guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 18.
I think we know who won.
Yeah.
I mean, the girl.
There can be only one.
Right. We were fucking all, a lot, but So
It just didn't compare.
yeah, I mean,
Max,
Yeah. What, my first time?
we're all sharing here. Sharing is caring at this
you
point.
said he was 16, right?
I was 16. I was.
But
at
he didn't
this-
explain the circumstance.
Yeah, she was 18. She randomly messaged me on Facebook. She graduated from my school like the year earlier, and she lived in my building. And I was just an oblivious tard, and I was just.
What
chilling
kind
with
of
her
building? Like apartment building?
like
or
an
a dorm?
apartment building,
Okay.
yeah. And so I go down to her house and we're just watching Family Guy. She's like, "Do you want to fuck?" And I'm just like, "I mean, it's 9 o'clock. I gotta be home at 10. I don't know." and then we ended up having sex. I was wearing Sesame Street boxers, but she didn't like. It was not a classy experience. Like it was definitely not as like loving as like Bill Clinton being reelected. It was just like, hey, Family Guy is really fucking not funny. Do you want to have sex? And that was about it. And then
Okay.
her couch broke like in the middle of that. So that was.
Oh.
Not because it was because of
See, that
like,
makes you
the
sound
wild
like a boss.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I broke
Wow.
Yeah, no,
my
hold on.
first time I
Yeah,
broke the
but-
fucking
Yeah,
couch. That's how we do it in the Bronx, yo.
Let me
Yeah.
let me rephrase that. The couch was meant the couch was already gonna break. I didn't break it because I was going at. It was just like this couch was already divided into two pieces. It was already falling apart, and then I was laying down on it, and then it just fucking separated completely.
So I'm looking at Max
shit.
stature-wise. I'm like, man, he does not look like
No.
he has
breaking
couch
couches.
breaking ability.
Wait a
thrusting
minute,
it,
I didn't
you
get
know?
to give all the details of mine though.
All right,
Okay.
Ronnie, drop
Do
it.
mine either.
Right, because she was. I lost my virginity to my god sister.
That's incestuous.
Is it not? Is it incestuous?
No,
or is
Only
it-
Because
morally.
your
Only
your god
morally.
siblings,
right, but we're not really related though.
but you're religious, so I'm gonna say yes. That's
And then
incestuous.
I lost it in the park. There was a park across the street, and she's just and I told her I was I think I might be kind of gay, because I like to suck dick every now and then. And she's just she's like, I don't care about that. I still want us to do it. And I was like, all right.
This is in Wisconsin.
In
So,
Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
There was
when
a
you
park
were
across the
doing
street.
it, were you thinking to yourself, "Oh, this is boring," or "I wish this was a dude," or were you "Oh, okay"?
I mean, well, no, I was a virgin, so it was just oh shit, I'm losing my virginity.
Right.
That's
Just
how every
not-
guy thinks. Just
Right. It's just a click.
It's
You're
just
oh,
a click. Okay, this is happening.
You
I'm
can't
actually having sex
process
now.
it all yet.
Yeah,
Because you're so excited because it's a big life changing thing.
Exactly.
You don't know what to expect. You just know oh, this is what I have to. This is gotta happen.
This is gonna happen.
Right.
I knew it was gonna happen to me
Right.
eventually. And now it's happening.
Right.
And then I was kind of insatiable. I was couldn't get.
Really?
That hasn't changed.
You're a fucking whore. Just give this guy a warm, wet hole. He doesn't give a shit.
Right.
He doesn't
That's-
give a
And then
shit.
she became my girlfriend. We used to fuck all the time.
Yeah.
It's funny because before college, that summer between high school and college, that entire summer, I was trying to lose my virginity. Because I didn't want to go to college being a virgin because I assumed that everyone in college was not a virgin, and I didn't want to feel like I was left behind. And so but every time and I was talking to a bunch of dudes, and as soon as they found out I was a virgin, they're nah, I can't, nah. And I'm why? They're because you're always gonna remember your first time, and you're gonna get really attached, and I'm just not in that place. And I'm I'm not gonna get attached. I don't even like you. I just need your dick for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I always wonder.
Damn.
Shouldn't you remember every time? Not just in the sense that if
Really?
All right. Well, talk to Ronnie about that.
I don't. No, but I'm saying if someone blacks, let's say it's one person this one time and they just black out. It's just that's a black and white. That's not a black and white situation. So it's when you tell someone who's a virgin you're supposed to remember your first time. It's you're probably gonna remember your second time too.
No.
Nah, I mean, right. Again,
Not if there's
how
been
old are you?
23.
Right.
I don't know. I see it as
Have sex on a regular basis for 10 years and then tell us how much you remember about your first time. And
Yeah.
the second
I mean,
time,
I've
it's
had sex on my own regular basis for more than 10 years, and I remember them.
you remember
So,
all of them?
yeah.
Yep. Marissa looks like the type of person that's got a spreadsheet with everybody that she fucked.
I mean, I used to.
She's like an analysis. This guy lasted 4 minutes. This guy lasted 6. This guy
We're the
sweats.
exact opposite. I'll get on the train. I'll look at a motherfucker and be like, damn, I think I fucked that guy before.
So I used to keep a journal of
So,
everybody
see?
that I used to
There we
kiss.
go.
Right.
Because in college I was more of a kissing whore than a whore, but
That was a fun horse.
because it's a kiss. I mean, you might get the hurt, but you just gotta
Or mono.
you just gotta really kind of pay attention to people for a long time first, you know. And then just kind of go in chronological order of the person that you know the longest, so that you know that oh, I haven't seen a sore and they haven't been sick. I mean, that was my logic. But you know, some people use romance or something.
Some people use romance.
Or something.
I'm surprised I've
Right.
remained this quiet on the virgin story thing. I'm the last one right now.
Yeah. So fess up there, Lee Paul.
I was 19. Her name was, I don't give a fuck. Her name was Beth Brogdon. And
At
she
least
was
you
actually
noticed
younger
it
than me.
anyway.
She was 2 years younger than me. And she was a very she was like very sexually experienced. You know, she was she was slutty. You know, and I was so fucking excited. Like it was all planned out. Like we first it started out. Do you remember when you used to like talk dirty on the phone with people? Like before you'd meet them, you'd get that build up. Like you would be so filled with like lust or cum or whatever. Like you just like. You were going to explode. And I would have these conversations, right? I would get so worked up with this girl. And so she says to me, I'm going to come over to your house tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then, and after talking about all these things, these sexual things, I'm like, yeah, sure you are. So I got all nervous, you know, next day, I'm still at my parents' house. I'm waiting for her. Coming 9 o'clock passes by. This fucking chick's not coming. I knew it. Then the fucking doorbell rings. I'm like, you know, my heart starts beating real fast. I'm like, oh shit. Open the door. It's her. Looks great. And I had class with this girl, and I used to always look at her, stare at her. So I had been fixated, fantasized about this girl, and she knew it. She had a lot of power. You know what I mean? And she knew I was a little older, so she loved the fact that she was deflowering me, right? And we're fooling around, we're making out. She's completely naked. I remember I was so impressed. This was like 1997, yeah. And so she was all shaved, and I was like, wow, And before we go in, when I was young, I always grew facial hair because I wanted to look older to get in the class. I had this goatee, I had a goatee. And she says, she's like, mister, she's like, before you get in any of this, I'm like, you're going to go in the bathroom and shave that fur off your face. So I fucking ran in the bathroom, fucking shaved that goatee off real quick.
What?
Like, that's how I knew right away that I was going to have a problem, and I knew the power of the vagina, that it literally got me to change my own facial recognition, my own style, my own personality. In 1 second. Like, it was just like, came back. And we're having sex, and it's great. Now, I told you she was shaved, and she's kind of riding me, and like, I don't know what's going on. But I guess it had just grown. It was growing in, and it was like sandpaper. It was like chafing my dick, and it kind of hurt, but I was so excited with everything. I was like, I don't know. I guess this is like part of it, right? You're like, it's part of the process. I want to, got to sand your dick down a little bit, make sure it's even, and I'm like having sex with her, and then I was like, oh, can I get a blowjob too? And she's like, oh, don't push it, whatever.
Damn, she's savage.
And then next time, and she had me shave my face, and then she fucking sanded my cock with her stubbly, lips. And anyway,
That sounds like he was not wearing a condom.
I was not wearing a condom. She told me she didn't want me to wear a condom. You know what I'm saying? Like, first time, I didn't give a shit. It's back then. And then I remember that I called up my friend, and I said, hey, I lost my virginity to this girl. Oh, man. And she said she's going to, I remember, I'll never forget that. She said she's going to show me the ropes. Like, I was all like, yeah, like I'm going to learn some things, Like, I'm going to college, but now I'm going to sex college. Right?
I graduated.
And you know what? She one-timed me. Never fucked me again after that. That was it. She just wanted to do it. She just wanted to take my virginity. And then she strung me along, and I was just like,
damn.
I had like one friend, and I used to call her the divergenizer, and like she went through like a few years where like she was only like fucking virgin guys, and like I was just like, okay, but like, what are you gonna do once he's not a virgin? She's like, oh, I'll figure it out. And I'm like, you know that you're never gonna talk to him again after, right? And like, she's like, no, I like him. And I'm like, you don't like him. Like, you actually just like the fact that you're like taking his flower. I don't know what that is, but like, because like I've never taken anyone's virginity.
Me neither.
And I would never want to.
I have a couple times.
Does ass virginity count though?
Ass virginity does
No,
count.
absolutely.
Do you know how gentle you have to be when you're taking somebody's ass and like really like making sure that they're comfortable and like I put on music and I just make sure it's
Light
like,
a candle.
light a candle, make sure it's happening right, because I'm taking your ass
mood.
for the first time.
I usually wait. I usually wait until they've done a lot of cocaine. You know what I'm saying? And then I do it. That usually helps a lot. Yeah.
Before you put it in the ass. But yeah, no, taking somebody's virginity is kind of it's intense.
I've never done it.
Yeah, I've never. I would never want to.
I'm the only virginity taker at the table.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute. If I'm with if I'm having
Only guys. I've never taken a girl's
yeah,
virginity.
that's what I'm saying. If I'm taking
It's
sexual,
different.
I'm just trying to. There's a nuance in this because we're talking about anal virginity, talking about with a guy. But what about as a count? If a woman's never had anal before, and you are the first
her
one to
ass
have
virginity?
Right? Can we?
I feel like
can we
that,
give
I
credit
feel like
there?
that- I feel like that's credit
Okay.
because that's a whole
Then
other.
that I've done.
That's
I've
a whole
done. I've done
nother,
that.
You know.
That I've done.
Right.
I haven't taken the actual technical virginity, vaginal, but the anal virginity. Yes.
Yeah, I've done that.
I feel like it's.
There you go, Max.
Is
See?
it also taking?
I've never taken a man's ass virginity.
We're all the same here.
Is it taking virginity? It's like you've never had head from a guy before, and I'm like the first guy that gives you head. Is that like a head virginity?
I guess. Yeah.
don't know, 'cause
if
like
you're the
now
first
here's-
person,
It's a
that's
very
like-
cerebral
have-
question.
Yeah,
That
this is
is
like
sex
this
with
is,
a guy.
I feel like that's
Like-
like really technical because like what if a guy has had head before, but I'm the first person that's ever made him come from head?
Yeah, that's.
Because
That's
there's
another
like
thing.
you know what I mean? Because like I feel like yeah, someone's blown you before, but you've never actually come. You've never been blown. Like you know what I mean? It's like someone just licked some flesh.
Right.
They didn't make shit work.
Right. That's
so,
the whole right.
I mean, if you're gonna be like, oh, like I'm the first.
But like you've never been with women before. Like if you were with a girl for the first time, did she
like
technically
with
take your?
like within like I've kissed a girl before.
No, I'm talking about full blown. She made you have an orgasm. Y'all was scissoring.
Nah.
There might have been fucking vibrators and dildos involved.
Was she wearing?
Nah.
Was she wearing cherry flavored chapstick? And did you like it?
Okay, Katy Perry. No, it was like a spin the bottle situation, so I feel like it doesn't even count.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'm
I
talking
just feel
about like if you were to get drunk one night, like we're all hanging out, we did karaoke, and you just met somebody, and she kind of looked at you, and you kind of looked at her, and then you end up back at her apartment, and next thing you know, you're like having full blown lesbian sex.
I wouldn't even know what to do in lesbian sex.
She's showing you and teaching you the ropes. That's what I'm saying. That would be taking somebody's virginity.
I don't know.
She just like took your lesbian virginity card.
I don't know. I
She said, I ain't doing that.
I don't know because I feel like you've still had sexual experiences before.
But no,
Like-
what I'm explaining to you is that sticks in your head the same way.
I mean, it's a different-
the first time like somebody, it's the same scenario. Like the guys that the first time that I've never had sex with a guy before, and then they have sex, we have sex, then they're like the same way. Like if it was a chick, like it's like kind of.
Are they
You
a
just-
chick or are they emotionally a bitch?
Right,
Yeah.
emotionally, you go through the same emotional like type of attachment, and like when you walk away from it, you think about it the same way. It's very similar.
I don't know. I feel like I'm uncomfortable with that level of intimacy with a person.
I
Like,
she was comfortable with the lesbian virginity. You just like, hey, and she's getting a little flushed. She's like, I wouldn't even know what to do.
Right. But like, what if you had like you know, kind of drunk on your ass one night, and there was some lesbian that like, you know, you were kind of digging, and the next thing you know, it's happening. She's all up in your twat.
I don't know. It hasn't. I feel like it hasn't happened yet. Like you know.
That doesn't mean that it won't, just because it hasn't happened yet.
I don't know. I've met some pretty attractive, powerful lesbians in my day.
I like
and
how
they're
she
still
had
not in there.
attractive and powerful.
Yeah, because like everybody, like
Hours do they have?
It's like, she's like, I'm not into attract. I need a power lesbian.
like I need an Oprah. If
Yeah.
I'm even gonna contemplate
Alright.
this shit, you're gonna
Wow.
need to be like an Oprah level
Damn.
like lesbian.
You got some. You got some. That's
some lesbian
those,
standards right
those
there.
some heavy lips to fill. Wow.
And
Wow.
I'm not talking Queen Latifah because that's just a little too much.
Too much power? Or
Wait
too
a minute.
much-
I was like, wait. Queen
Right.
Latifah's a very attractive,
What's the
beautiful
problem?
woman. And
No,
what's
but
the
like I
problem?
feel like she's like too big.
She'll take you down.
Yeah, like she's too, like that's a lot of ass woman.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like it's a fair fight.
I feel like she would caveman you. She'd be like, "Come here, bitch," and like put you over
over
your
here.
shoulder.
Get
Like,
over
come
here.
on over here. Shut up.
Yeah.
Come on
Like
back.
that's like
I'll
that's,
show
that's,
you as
that's
queen.
too much lady.
What about like Ellen? Like I feel like she, you
Ellen-
meet her one night. She's a comic too. Y'all start talking. She's like, me and Portia are having issues, and then all of a sudden,
I feel like
you're-
she's a powerful lady, but I don't feel like I feel physically threatened by Ellen. I
But
feel
if
like
Ellen, but if Ellen was trying to
I
get in
feel
them
like
draws,
I'd be more physically threatened by Portia.
But he's
if
saying-
Ellen, but if Ellen was trying to get in them draws though,
Basically, we want to know if you're gonna go.
She's kind of
if,
dry white lady.
if you're gonna go lesbo, are you gonna go lipstick or bull dyke? Like, what are you doing? That's what we want to know. If you have
I-
to choose one,
I don't know who's buying the best jewelry.
you are the jappiest potential
Right?
lesbian I've ever met in my life. I don't know. Who's ever buying the best jewelry?
damn.
Well, I'm a step Jew. I don't know what you guys are expecting from
my
me.
God, I love it. I love it.
But that also poses the question for you guys: if you had to lose your ass virginity, like what famous person would it like be to it? What guy?
Keanu Reeves.
Like if you had to
think-
do it, it's gonna happen.
I would say Joe Rogan because I feel like he'd be funny during it.
Yeah.
I feel like he'd have something funny to say. Like, I wouldn't enjoy it, but I'd enjoy what he'd have to say about it. Listen, man, I'm not having fun either, but
But we gotta do this.
Spread those cheeks, bro.
$100. You signed up for Fear Factor, didn't you?
Fear this dick, bro.
Oh, I'm about to come. Have you ever done DMT?
I come DMT, bro.
Open your
Oh
mouth.
my god. Huh.
Have
We'll
you
show
ever
you
tasted
another
what The
world.
Rock was cooking?
Oh yeah.
Completely.
Definitely not Dwayne Johnson. That's too much of a man for me. I can't.
Oh, I
handle
would.
that.
Oh, any motherfucking day of the
I just-
week.
If you, if you swallow his load, that's 20
think-
grams of protein right there. It's just a lot of meat.
Lee's like,
I'm just thinking. I just had a weird thought of like Larry David fucking me in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Just like, is
he
this?
looks like that old weak cock that
Yeah,
he was
exactly. Exactly. Listen. This is gonna be over real quick. I'm not enjoying it either. Don't worry.
That was a good pick. It's like,
Yeah. By the way, I saw him. I ran into him. I was doing some man on the street stuff.
Okay.
Last night at Feast of San Gennaro, I was in Little Italy, and I was on. I think I was on Christie and Prince Street. I was coming in with my cameraman Jay. You know the guy who plays the guitar in my band. He does video production. Anyway, we're doing man on the street stuff, and I'm on the phone talking to my dad. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready to do this man on the street stuff, Dad. We're on the Feast of San Gennaro because I'm trying to plug the Only in New York show and do some stuff, New York Central Comedy. And while I'm on the phone and talking, and Jay's next to me, my camera, I look over, and just 5 feet, and Larry David's standing there. I look at him. He looks at me with that look like, yeah, I know you know who I am. Now you're going to annoy me, aren't you? and then
you annoy him.
and then he was also, and then half curious of what I was talking about on the phone. So I just stared at him, because I was on the phone, so I didn't look at, so I just kind of had the conversation with my eyes, like,
Yeah.
don't worry, you're safe. You know what I'm saying? And I just
Yeah.
kept on walking. And then I was like, wow, we saw Larry. What did the chance? And we waited 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes later, I ran into him again. And we didn't have the camera all set up. I was like, fuck. We should have the camera set up. But that was like a good omen. I was like, you know what? This show is going to be good. I'm doing the right thing. It was like, I had like the blessing of like Mr. New York himself.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like those omens are like important. So like like I started out doing comedy, doing comedy classes. And my very first comedy class, on my way to class, I got totally lost. And I'm in the middle of Times Square. And this is before fucking GPS. So I literally have MapQuest directions
Right.
printed out. So I'm reading the fucking directions as I'm walking in the street, and then all of a sudden I hit this massive object and just bounce off of it. And I look up, and it's Alec Baldwin. And I'm just
Massive object, and I bounce off.
And so, he's fucking huge.
He's a mountain of a man.
He's like a mountain of it. I'm 5'2" and a half.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
He's solid though, right?
He's solid and
Right.
literally I'm not paying attention and I'm reading something.
Yeah.
And I just hit this thing and I literally bounce back and I go into instant New York. What the fuck? And so I look up and I'm kind of making the gesture what the
Hey.
fuck? And so I'm looking up at him and he looks down at me and he just kind of puts his shoulders up it happens. And then that I had that split second of and then he's
Right.
just nodding oh my
Right.
god, that's you. And then
Right.
he's nodding at me yeah, it's me. And I was and I was and I was just okay, and I literally just gave a Lucille Ball
A little
bye bye
Uh-huh,
to him
right,
bye bye,
right.
and so he just kind of shrugged it off and kept walking. And I'm just wait, on my way to comedy, I'm gonna meet Alec Baldwin. Comedy's my jam.
Yeah.
Before my first joke ever told.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Yeah. That's you should do a story. Podcast. I've done a storytelling show and I had celebrity encounters, and I've met so many people, in New York City, celebrities that come upon people all the time. Some of them are, conversational interactions. Some are just, you bump and you see them.
Which one was your favorite?
Okay. So I used to do this thing years ago called the Party Bike. I did these adventure bicycle tours in Times Square in Central Park. It was this big red, I don't think if I ever told you about this. So it was this big red circular bike. Everybody sat around in a circle. It was this very oddity. And you'd have one person in the back who would steer, and then everybody else would pedal. And then all the pedaling inputted and circumvented around to help propel the bike forward. There was hydraulic brakes. It was a weird thing. It was on all these TV shows, on a Tony Danza show, I was on Today show, all this stuff. I did all the media for the bike. So long story short, it was around Christmas time in 2005, and I had the bike. I'm going around Times Square, and I'm parked around, I don't know, 47th and Broadway or something. And this guy goes, "Hey, how much for the bike?" And I look up, and it's Bill Murray.
Oh, nice.
What?
So Bill Murray, now at this point in time, I know it's Bill Murray. It's 1,000% Bill Murray. And Bill Murray is always, he's notorious for doing these weird, crazy things,
Yeah.
And he's got two women with him. So I am, at this point in time, I had just started, doing comedy back in New York. I moved from Miami because I was down there for a while. I moved back to New York. And I'm oh my God, it's Bill Murray. I'm no, it's this is it, Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day, Stripes. What about Bob? I'm this is crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I have to play it cool, act like I don't know who he is because I don't want to be gushing,
Yeah.
And he's got these two women with him. And he's just kind of spaced out. He talks to you, but he looks like he's looking into the fourth dimension while he's talking to you.
Yeah.
It's what, I want to see what Bill Murray sees,
Yeah.
So I was a singing waiter at one point in time. Also, so I used to, and I do music. So I used to sing songs with people on the bike, to get them going. I used to sing "Proud Mary," big wheels keep on turning,
Yeah.
proud Mary keep on burning, and I rolling, rolling, rolling. So I start singing that. And I'm going, rolling. And Bill Murray would go, rolling, 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 rolling on the river. And he'd do the low part, rolling on the river. And I'm driving around Times Square on this crazy bike, singing Proud Mary with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
That's
And-
crazy.
And then I'm talking about I do stand up. I just and then the women were oh, you should do the real comedy, improv. It's I guess he had a Second City, background you
Yeah.
came from. I didn't say anything about it, but he got off the bike. He was thank you very much. And he gave me $100 tip and left. And it was just so fucking surreal. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's probably one of I've had a lot of interesting encounter. Another time years ago, and then I'll shut up so I know we got to go on. But this was when I was on a theater trip into the city with because I didn't live in the city, I lived in the suburbs, and we came in and this was with my drama club. We came in and we watched some shows on Broadway, and this is when Jay Leno was in California. He did the Tonight Show, but he was in New York doing street interviews. You know, Jay Leno has an affinity for classic cars. He collects nice cars.
Yeah,
So he's on a car. I don't know. It's like 1965. Pink Cadillac, whatever, convertible, whatever it is. He's driving around, and I see him on the street across the street with my group, and I go, and now Jay Leno had done this movie. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a movie with Pat Morita, who played Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And when they played a Japanese cop and an American cop team up, it was a bomb. It was a terrible movie. Like, it was not a good movie. And so I don't know why. I just said to him, and the only thing I looked at him, I said, "Hey, Jay." He said, "Hey, buddy." And this is what popped in my mouth. When are you going to do another movie with Pat Morita?
Oh God.
So you could tell, like, he was just like, his mouth just opened up like nobody had ever asked him this question for, and he was like, and you could tell he probably was not proud of that movie or whatever. Like, he was like, "I don't know, guy, nobody ever asked me that before." And then he's just like,
walked away.
And then, he was in the car, and then he just drove off.
Oh, shit.
So, like, my favorite celebrity interaction moment was one of my good friends when I was, like, in my 20s. It was his birthday, and he wanted to go to Hogs and Heifers. And so, like, there's probably, like, maybe 12 of us in Hogs and Heifers. And I'm talking to one of our friends, and my back is to the door, and my friend is just kind of like, "Holy shit, Paul McCartney just walked into this bar."
Oh.
And I was just like, "Fuck you. Paul McCartney did not just walk into this bar. We're in the diviest bar ever. Like, why would he come into this bar?" And then he's just like, no, I'm serious. He's here. And then, like, we always, like, play jokes on so I'm like, "Fuck you. He's not here. He's not here."
Right.
And so, like, then he's just like, "Maris, please shut up. He's, like, right behind me, and I think he can hear you." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck you, Larry." Like, oh, let me guess. Paul McCartney standing right behind me. He's going to tap me on the shoulder, and he's going to be like, "Hi, I'm Paul McCartney, the fucking Beatle." I'm like, "Go fuck yourself." And he's just like, "Marissa, he's laughing so hard. Please shut up. Please shut up." And so then I just feel this tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Paul McCartney. He's like, "Hi, I'm Paul McCartney, the fucking Beatle." And so I was just like, and I literally was like, "Well played." And then he's like, he's just like, "So, like, what are you guys doing here?" And I'm like, "It's my friend's birthday." And I'm like, I don't mean to impose, but, like, I know this is going to be, like, a huge thing in his life, but would you mind just saying happy birthday to him? He's like, no, who's your friend? So, like, I go and I grab my friend, and I'm like, "Come with me." And he's, like, talking to some chick, and he's like, "Bro, I'm about to fucking crush right now." And I'm like, "You're about to meet a Beatle. Pussy or Beatle?" And he's like, "Are you shitting me?" I'm like, "No, pussy or Beatle?" He's like, "Beatle." I'm like, "Come with me." And so, like, I bring him home. He's like, "Paul, this is my friend Matt. It's Matt's birthday." He's like, "Oh, happy birthday." And he's like, "Oh my God, she wasn't fucking kidding? You're fucking Paul McCartney." He's like, "Yeah." So he's like, "So it's your birthday. I feel like I should get you all shots." So he's just like, "Round all your people up." And so he bought us all shots. And then he's just like, "Oh, you guys want to dance in the bar? I feel like dancing in the bar." And like, so then he like,
holy
shit. So
What?
like now,
get out of here.
no, like
What?
we literally dancing on the bar with him. And so like we're on like page 6, like, but they just cut off like part of like the rest
Your
of my
hand.
body.
Oh.
So like it's just my hand and my watch at like the end of this photo. And so like I'm just like, "Oh my God, there's my hand and my watch and the photo
on
of fucking
page
Paul
6.
McCartney on page 6.
Wow.
Yeah, he was so cool.
And from that point, you should have said, "Fuck comedy. I'm going to be a hand model," because you got all the
It's
credit.
just like,
you know?
do you,
I
like,
was in a
yes,
show
this
with
is
Paul
the hand with
McCartney.
Paul
Right.
McCartney.
Well, for me, I wasn't a comic at the time, and I really wish that I was, because I used to live in LA before I moved here, and I worked for a catering company. We worked the Emmys, and my table that I was assigned to was the cast of 30 Rock.
Mm.
Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, like I was just like, and I'm
Right.
just like pouring
Right.
them wine and pouring them champagne and just being in the presence of the entire cast of 30 Rock.
That's great.
Yeah.
Like that was, I mean, nothing extra cool happened, but like that was like the best celebrity encounter.
Was Judah there?
Yes. Yeah.
So like not to like double dip on our celebrity thing, but like Judah was like a total cock block for me once, and he didn't even mean to do it. So like I met this guy at a bar. We were talking or whatever. He's like, "Oh, I'm really into comedy," and so I was like, "Oh, who's your favorite comedian?" And he's like, "David Tell." And so like I used to do Fashionably Funny out of Eastville, and I knew David Tell was playing that weekend. So like I met him maybe on like a Wednesday, and I'm like, "Oh, would you want to go see David Tell on like Friday?" And he's just like, "Oh yeah, but tell me how much the tickets are, because I know it's gonna be expensive." I'm like, "It's my home club. Like I'm pretty sure we can get in for free. Don't worry about it." He's like, No. Like this is gonna be expensive. Like you can't pay for these tickets for me." And I'm like, "All right, how about this? How about we go there, and if they charge me, then you can pay for the tickets. But if they don't charge me, then we'll just enjoy the show." He's just like, "Okay." So we're outside, we're smoking a cigarette, and he sees Judah walking down the street. And so he's like, "Oh my God, that's the guy from 30 Rock." And I'm like, "Oh, who, Judah?" And then he's just like, "Oh, you're just like on a first name basis with a guy from 30 Rock." I'm like, "Well, he does my show. He drops in sometimes, and like he knows who I am." And then he's just like, "Oh, you just know the guy from 30 Rock?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's just like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And so like Judah's walking down the street, and he's just like, "Yonkers, what's up, girl? I haven't seen you in a minute." And he gives me like a big hug. And so I'm like, "Oh, this is my friend, like Dom." and so then
That's great.
and he's like, "Oh, hey, cool, man." He's just like, "Yeah, she's awesome, bro." And he's just like, "Oh, cool." So like then like Judah walks downstairs in the Eastville, and so like he's just like, "Oh my God, you actually know the guy from 30 Rock?" I'm like, "Yeah,
I told you that.
I
Right.
told you that." And
Yeah.
so like
Well, he doesn't realize that being a comedy, he's like around all the time. Like, yeah, back in the day, I used to do shows with him and Greer, and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dropped in on an open mic when I first started in 2014. Like he's around.
yeah, he's always around, and he's super super nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like then we like get downstairs, and so Judah's talking to David Tell, and so then like my date is just like, "Oh my God, that's David Tell. Like David Tell's over there talking to the guy from 30 Rock." And so like I'm just like, cool. And so like we're like walking past, and then Judah's just like, "Yo, Yonkers, have you met Dave yet?" And I was just like, "Oh, hey, I'm Marissa. Nice to meet you." And he's, "Oh, hey, I'm Dave." And so like then I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is my friend Dom." And then he's just like, "Oh, you're really funny. You're like one of my favorite comics." And David's like, "Cool, man, cool." And so he's just like, and he's just like, "Oh my God, I just shook David Tell's hand." And I was just like, yeah, cool. And then you would think that like after that night that he met like the guy from 30 Rock, he met like David Tell, like he'd be like, "Oh shit, like this chick is legit. Like I'm gonna like hang out with the people that I'm into." Never heard from him again.
Wow.
Like
Really?
never texted me back, never returned a phone call, nothing.
Wow.
That's
That's like
so crazy.
Yeah, that's like worse than a one night stand. At least you would have like came out of it. You know what I mean? Like, damn.
Depending. You don't always come from that.
Right.
But like
right.
But like at least like I would have gotten something out of it. Like we never
Right.
even had sex. It was just kind of like we just hung out, and then like he got all of his celebrity fantasies fulfilled, and then I guess I had no purpose.
Right.
He's like, "Oh yeah, you know that person. You know, yeah."
Pinnacle of the
motherfucker."
relationship. I met David Tell and Judah Friedlander. I don't
In
need
the
to see
same
this girl
night,
ever
it's just
again.
like
Right?
it's like, who am I gonna meet next? God? Like
I don't know. Stick around, motherfucker. Like,
we argue quite often. So like we don't have a super much time left, but very quickly. I'm just gonna go through. So now, Max,
Yeah.
what made you decide to get into wrestling?
It's just I've been watching it on a like regular basis, more or less like on and off since I was like 11,
Okay.
and I just I constantly am in places where people try to fuck with me, and I know how to I knew how to defend myself, but it's also just kind of knowing that mentality of like how like understanding body language and like just kind of walking around without people wanting to bother you. And so like I've kind of realized like through the wrestling, mainly it's just like I was in this like place mentally where I was just like, you know, I want to try this, and I'm just kind of tired of like not doing things based on like what people think of other things or like what people say about this or that.
Fuck people's judgments. There you
Yeah,
go, bud.
yeah, basically it's just like I just decided to start doing wrestling, and it's been fun. It's given me like reason to go to the gym pretty much every day.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's mostly like it's like a physical mental health thing. It's fun to do.
Okay.
What's been
Yeah.
the most challenging thing about it?
The physical part of it, trying to get stronger while also throwing yourself into the mat. You're always sore, so you're just all the like lifting and stuff. You just feel every bit of pain for like ever. A lot of it is very permanent pain. There's like discs in my back that I already know I need to get looked at. But I mean, it's a lot of fun, and like it's far away for me to have to actually get it like fixed.
So basically, wrestling helped you realize that you're a masochist.
yeah.
Got it.
I mean, you could have gone to a sex dungeon for that. but
Yeah, no, I
you know.
mean, it feels less involuntary when someone's beating the shit out of you.
50 Shades of Suplex.
That's gonna be my book.
Leap ho. So now, Lee,
Mm.
what are your thoughts on vaping?
Yeah, you know, I have tried to. That's the one thing since I stopped drinking and doing drugs. The only thing I would do, I would pick up cigarettes or anything now and then. But I sing and I do calm my voice, and I get really irritated. My throat gets fucked up. So I try to stop smoking. No more smoking. But the Juuls are big now, you know. So I tried the Juul, and it's funny too because like now people just will do the Juul inside.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give a fuck. Well, it's not cigarettes, you know. It's Juuling. Sometimes people try to be slick too. They like hold it and they'll put it in their hand. Like nobody sees. Yeah. We don't see the fucking smoke coming out of your hand there. Like it's like nobody thinks you're
Or that
Juuling.
strange light.
Yeah,
like-
nobody thinks you're Juuling. They just think you know sorcery. That's what it is. But then now they found out like this. There's these new. I don't want to COPD or these breathing disorders and problems. Have you seen that
Popcorn
on Facebook?
lungs.
The popcorn lung, right?
Popcorn lungs.
From Juuling, and it's like you can't smoke. It's like I can't smoke weed, can't smoke crack. You know what I'm saying? Can't smoke cigarettes. Now Jules like, what can you smoke? Is there anything left to smoke anymore? I mean,
I think the idea is that you're not supposed to be smoking anything. But my idea is just like, well, shit, everyone's going to die of something.
Right. And it relieves stress, and it really pisses me off they're trying to ban vaping.
well, they can't.
when,
To say they can't regulate. They don't know exactly what's in all that stuff. That's what it is.
But they
That's
should
what
have
like-
never allowed it on the market in the
Right.
first place.
But cigarettes are on the market, and
That's the
But
real
they
reason why this
understand.
is going on is because with the vaping going on, cigarette companies are able to get rid of the vape.
Well, yeah, it's big. I think it's big. Yeah,
Competition.
big tobacco's like, yeah, I want to take them out. We'll do the old popcorn lung thing, you know? Yeah, the old like, there's nothing like this is what happens. You know, those commercials or the fucking, you know, you're gonna get lung
they
cancer,
can't
you birth
talk because
defects.
their lungs are popping.
Yeah, but that's a new thing. Like nothing's scarier than popcorn lung. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to have like, oh my god, do our lungs turn into the size of popcorn?
Wait, I'm just
do we
Those
get?
kernels
No.
are tasty as fuck.
first
yeah.
of all, you got to look at the numbers.
Yeah, if
What,
it's
like
good
nine.
popcorn, I'm willing to get
It was like
popcorn lung.
9 people died, right? Like 9 people, but like that's like 9 people. What? 250 million in
And they
America?
were probably the same people.
And
who
how
can't-
many times were they vaping? Are they like this every like 2
Right.
seconds?
They're probably the same people who are like allergic to everything. They can't have gluten. You know, they have peanuts.
I mean,
like,
I'm allergic to everything, but I think the problem with vaping is that there's no indication to tell you when to stop. Like so, like I was on like
But you drink and smoke, so you have your constitution is a little stronger for for
But at
people,
the end of
right.
a cigarette, you know that you've
But
reached
like
the end of
when
the
I
cigarette.
finish the cigarette, I know this is time to put it down. When I
Mm-hmm.
finish a beer, I'm like, oh, that's empty. Like this is my third beer. But
Right.
like with vaping, it's just like it just continually
Right.
goes until it stops.
Yeah.
But when it stops is like
just
5
get
packs
another one.
later.
The cartridge is
it's
out.
like the
Yeah.
cartridge is out.
I'm zapped.
But the cartridge,
Right.
But the
right.
cartridge is like 17 fucking packs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it should like give an indicator light like, oh, this would be the end of a cigarette. Like just so that you know something, you're going a little extra right now because I feel like vaping is like the wild wild west of nicotine and like people are just like smoking just being like, oh, it's fine cuz like my cartridge is cool, but it's just like, no bitch, you just smoked a pack of cigarettes in 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, right. It reminded me of a story like when the first time I took 4 hits. I was at the Atlantic Winter Music Conference, Ultra, in Miami, and it's all electronic EDM music.
Ultra.
And then, so long story short, I quad dipped ecstasy. I took like 4. I basically
4 hits of
quattro
ecstasy?
stacked. Yeah, like did 2, and then like another 2. You know, and I'm in the car driving with my buddy, and we were going on our way to one of the venues, and I'm smoking these Newports. I used to love smoking menthol cigarettes when I was fucked up.
When I used to smoke,
I was smoking the menthol. I was smoking the Newports, and I was like, I could feel like this taste of the menthol cigarette. Like, you know, it wasn't just like the refreshment of the menthol going. Like my whole body felt like a lung. It was just like I was just like passing in and out. It's not even ecstasy. Everything's intensified, and I just remember my friend looked over at me and he said, "What the fuck, man?" He took the cigarettes back. I said, "What?" And I looked at it, and it was a full pack. There was only 3 cigarettes. Like, dude, you just smoked 17 cigarettes in like 9 minutes. And I was like, man, yeah, they're really good, you know?
So we need to wrap this up, you guys. Before we go, just tell everybody your social media, what products you're working on next. I'm going to start with you, Rodney Daniels.
So I am Rodney Downs on everything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Tonight I'm gonna be at the Broadway Comedy Club hosting Fashionably Funny. If you're in New York City, come check it out. I am producing my first show October 5th at Gino's Tutorial in Brooklyn. Look it up on my social media. And I have a birthday show November 10th at Greenwich Village Comedy Club. Come check it out, 10 p.m.
Lee Paul.
Yes, I am gonna be. I know I'm gonna be doing only in New York centric comedy with music and great New York storytelling. I'm curating this monthly show. I think the next one is going to be Wednesday, November 6th. It's at Wicked Willie's, 149 Bleecker Street. Also, I think I'm going to be on your show at Broadway Comedy Club October 11th, which I'm excited to do. You guys put on a great show. And I'm going to be over at One Up Story at the Red Room. You can check my website, leepaulcomedy.com. And my Instagram is leepaul_comic_rockstar.
Max Brinzillas.
You guys can follow me on Philip_J_Frylock on Instagram. That's pretty much the only social media I use publicly. As for shows, comedy is coming in as it comes in. But for wrestling, I'll be refereeing pretty much, I think, all of the BWF wrestling shows in the Bronx. But I'm definitely reffing at Enter the Terror Dome on Close Avenue in Soundview in the Bronx. So
What about the women's street fighting thing?
there's the first women's match as our first. Well, not the first women's match, but the first women's main event as a hardcore street fight between like Karen Bam Bam and Anastasia.
Bam Bam!
Yeah.
Rodney Daniels.
Huh? Oh, wait, I did mine already.
did it.
Marissa Smith.
Well, sometimes you just gotta prompt the fellas to tell them that the lady has not gone yet. Follow me on all the social media. I'm on Facebook at Marissa Smith, Instagram Fashionably Funny NYC. Follow this show on Twitter at Big Talkin' Brew. I'm going to be at Fashionably Funny tonight, Broadway Comedy Club, 10 p.m. Monday, I'm going to be at Urban Vegan Kitchen, 6 o'clock. Tuesday, I'll be at the Hoboken Comedy Festival. Fridays are always here, Big Talkin' Brewskis. Saturday, I'm going to be at Otter String Head and at Gino Sartorio with Rodney Daniels. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, you guys, it seems like Rudy's doing all this shit on purpose because he also told us that Trump paid Stormy Daniels with his own money, and now he's admitting to conspiracy against the United States on Twitter. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Dun, dun, dun.
I gotta pee.
Oh, hey, look, can you get somebody come in and take a picture of all of us with the yeah, please? That'd be great.
Fucking back killing me.
Oh yeah, from sitting too long. Yeah, I get like that too sometimes. That's why I have to be very conscious. To kind
Yeah.
of like sit straight as possible. But you, because you're being fucking pile drived. That's why.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of just like it would be that way anyway, like years from now. But
Right.
because I'm like throwing myself into things,
Do you have?
now
Let
I'm,
me
like,
ask you
super
that. Do you
conscious
have
about
that?
it.
I mean, you're what, 23 now?
Yeah.
So you're having these pain, these issues now. You're not worried about if this is what you're feeling like now. What's
Yeah.
gonna happen 10 years?
Oh yeah,
20
no, I
years?
worry about it all the time.
You
but
know, like,
it's-
is there an expiration date to your wrestling shenanigans?
Yeah, definitely. Just like there's anyone else's.
Right.
The way I see it is
How
like
much longer are you gonna do it?
it depends. What I'm trying to take it as I go along.
Right.
Just because like, if I think about it too much, because like my family's predisposed to like heart disease or like
Right.
other diseases, where
Right.
it's just like it's possible that I could end up dying or
Right.
any of that other stuff, but
Because